live, going live here in just a second. Doing some stuff here in the control room. Kim, I appreciate it. Yep, just that button over there. Yep. Welcome aboard, everyone. Welcome aboard to another live show. GO1, I see you're in the house. Welcome aboard. Always great to have you. Great to have you here. And just kind of going to go live and do a little bit of, whatever do y'all want to chat about? I mean, we can chat about drones. We can chat about live streaming. We can chat about indoor exercise equipment, travel, travel as a forward-looking statement of sorts, because travel right now is not enjoyable because of all the stuff. But man, just tuning in here and getting going live for everyone, and no structured agenda. Never try to have a structured agenda for these live shows. I just like to do them, when I feel like doing them. And the studio, again, everything in the studio is coming along nicely. I got a lot of, hold on, I'm gonna mute here for a second, because I'm gonna say a command that might wake your devices if you have these smart home assistants. Turn studio lights on. Sorry about that. That was my, I'm not going to say the name, but it's that A-word device, that the smart home voice assistant. So I can talk to it and tell them to turn on. I've got LED light strips. Check out my LED lighting video. But I've got LED light strips under my studio desk, my talk show desk that I'm at right now. Also my primary desk behind my smart TV, which doubles as a screen for my workouts. But I also have the the video out, so I can do the ATEM Mini Pro that I'm looking at right there on one of my studio monitors. I can do it on that big 40-inch 4K smart TV as well, so it's kind of cool. But yeah, we'll just jump right in here. It is approximately 1:40 p.m. New York City time. That's 1:40 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're watching this on February the 15th at approximately 1:40 p.m. Eastern time, if that's what time it says on your ticker right now, then you can chat live. I do want to remind everyone I do accept super chats. Super chats are a great way to support the channel. So are the channel memberships. Just added a membership module a few days ago. YouTube invited me to add that to my channel. So if you choose to do so, becoming a member is a really cool way to support the channel, to further support the channel. And you get a really cool icon. So when you're commenting and all of that, you've got a cool icon beside your name. Brad, welcome aboard. Brad, it has been. Welcome aboard, man. What's the latest in your world with drones, and anything exciting going on? Anything exciting that you got going on with drones? Any exciting drone news? Infused Adventures, welcome back. Infused, welcome back to the show. Let's see, I'm adjusting my program view here. Okay, Veronica, I think you've got I think that's the correct setting. Yep. Got man, this lighting now, I tell you, it took a team to set this up, but I mean, it is. That lighting is on point. I think it is. At least, tell me, is the lighting good? Do y'all have any network congestion issues? Anything like that? Brad says, work closed early due to snow today. 6 to 8 inches. Whoa. That's a lot of snow, man. All afternoon in St. Louis. St. Louis is that great place. You got that Anheuser-Busch. Good beer manufacturer, or beer brewery, I guess you would say. It's a good little place. Can't beat that. Yeah, it's gonna ice over, man. We got ice everywhere in the southeast. Over here in Georgia, we got ice. We got ice in St. Louis. It's just it is a bitter cold day. Brad says, excited for the DJI FPV leaks and how soon it's coming. Hoping the Mavic 3 nearing summer, maybe. Your head body has a green glow. Whoa. Tabitha, can you fix the green glow? Let's see, I'm going to sit right here and stand still while they try to correct the green glow. That's not good. Let's see. We're going to correct this green glow. Okay, that's not it. 0%. Whoa, that's definitely not it. Put that back to 0. Spill. Okay, Veronica. I think you almost have it there. Let's see. I think it may be the edge setting. Let's see. Oh, that's getting the green glow. See, look at my arm. See, now you get a lot of green. But when Veronica turns that, you're going to see the green start to go away. It looks like it's starting to. Let the green be gone. Okay, the green seems to be... Tell me if the green's gone. I think that, let's see. Still got that Xbox? No, man. The Xbox had a, this is a funny story about it. So, I didn't, I got it because I wanted to play it, and then I realized I don't even have, 5 minutes to play a video game. I mean, the thing is that, gaming now, and I realize there's a lot of professional gamers that really, monetize the heck out of online gaming, and that's super cool. But, I discovered that, for me, it would have been a big time commitment to do it properly. So I decided to get rid of it. And some dude drove all the way. And keep in mind, I'm over in Georgia. And some dude, got on, and he's like, yeah, he's like, I want that. And then, long story short, dude drove like 2.5, 3 hours to get it, and I'm not going to try to profit from this. I'm a capitalist. But dude came over and met me at a public place and bought the Xbox. I wasn't going to mark it up and make a huge profit, but showed up. He was probably, 16, probably just got his driver's license. He was there with his girlfriend. And, they were like, man, we can't wait to go back and play the games. And I'm like, dude, he handed over all his cash. I'm like, number one, thanks for showing up. I said, because people are shady nowadays. They say they're going to buy something, they don't show up. I said, number two, thanks for driving so far. I mean, dude drove like 3 hours. And he, you could tell he really wanted this, and he was excited. He was excited to get back, to drive 3 more hours to his home and play the Xbox. Dude was a pizza delivery driver. I mean, nothing wrong with that for a younger person, but, I mean, he was all in. He wanted to buy this, so he handed me the money. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of cash. I said, I handed him back $100 or something like that. I'm like, dude, I'm not here to mark this up and, make a huge profit off the Xbox. I said, take that $100. I said, take your girlfriend before you start your Xbox gaming binge. And I said, have a great dinner. And so yeah, I don't have the Xbox anymore. That was the Xbox One X. Cool system. I just, again, I've got so many business ventures that I run. I just don't really have the time to invest into gaming. Although I think it would be cool to tinker around with the idea of of online monetized gaming, because there's a lot of people make a ton of money doing that. Brad says, AB in St. Louis, Anheuser-Busch, is going to begin producing Stella Artois. Stella Artois. I love Stella Artois. Brad says, mainly around your hair. It used to not be there in your older streams. Yeah, I've changed my my settings, the camera settings. I don't use auto white balance anymore. And I think, so, and actually I need to post, after the fact, I need to post a video just kind of detailing all the steps. But I was able to use, instead of using automatic white balance, which is where your camera detects what it feels is the optimal white balance settings for your space, for your environment, I'm using manual white balance. And with this, you're really able to tune it in because, you know, I was able to use a light meter, you know, gauge the intensity of the light where I am right now, and, you know, and then set the settings to be somewhat optimal. So, and I just screenshotted my settings because that's the thing about the studio. Everything should remain consistent. You know, I don't move these lights. I don't move. I keep the window. It's got a blackout curtain, this, that, and the other. And so it's easy to just set up and go now and hopefully get. But thanks for the green thing because I think the green edges are probably gone now. I'm going to document that setting so I know what I used. Brad says it's better. Infuse Adventures, how's the weather near you? Man, in Georgia, it is just icing. It's just a slushy, icy rain that's just freezing the roads. Brad says, thoughts on the current drone industry, what's coming, etc. You know, I don't know, man. I mean, it's kind of, apologize, my nose keeps running. I'll just wipe it on my arm. So I'm gonna take a bath and take a shower after the show anyway. I can just wipe snot all over my arm. Who cares? Thoughts on the drone industry, what's coming? You know, I don't know, man. I mean, it's one of these times where you don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if things are about to become really hyper regulated, or if regulations might loosen. I mean, it's hard to predict, you know, where the industry is heading, and you know, I'm hoping. I don't know. I would love to not have to deal. I mean, not that it's a big pain, but I wish they would just lighten up on all this and just, you know, create a pure hobbyist category so you don't have to deal with all the registration and all that. I mean, I know why it's in place. You know, it can make things a little bit safer, but it's just you know, for responsible drone users, it's kind of a headache. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's hard to say where it's heading. Do you think it's heading? Do you think it's going to become more regulated, or do you think the regulations may loosen a little bit? Or, yeah, for example, I mean, I was in, and of course, I did not even take a drone, but when I was backpacking in the Smoky Mountains, I mean, even the areas surrounding there that didn't have airports and stuff, most all of it were, you know, no fly areas. So, I mean, obviously I didn't even take a drone because if I had taken it, I wouldn't have had a place to fly it anyway. I mean, it's kind of frustrating to see how many areas are becoming restricted. I mean, places that are just out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of frustrating. Brad says, you're going to get the DJI FPV. I think it's a good crossover for a lot of us coming from the other DJI drones. Yeah, I think the FPV, I think that could be cool, you know, something new. You know, obviously part of my thing, I just like to tinker and have a good time. And, you know, the drones for me, you know, starting with the Phantom 1 after Phantom 2 had been out for a while, you know, I was a late adopter because I couldn't risk, you know, without knowing how well drones perform, I couldn't risk throwing that much money into something that, you know, could have potentially crashed the first time I took off, or could have, you know, flown away the first time that I took off. So, I mean, it was just there was a lot of financial uncertainty there. And, you know, the earlier drones were super expensive. I mean, that's a lot of money to throw at something when you don't know if it's, you know, because I used to do RC, I messed with some RC airplanes in the past, and they just, you know, it just crashed like the first time. So, you know, I didn't want to have that much money tied up. And then, But with that being said, the thrill, after becoming involved, heavily with DJI drones was, was seeing the videos that I could capture. I mean, one of the, the coolest things that I captured was, Jeffrey Epstein's island. I didn't go over his island. I didn't want to invade any sort of privacy or anything, but I flew around the island, and that was pretty cool. I mean, I think with drones, I think using them as a flying camera is the most exciting thing. But with that being said, even though personally, at least currently, I don't have an interest in FPV drones, FPV drone racing, I think that it would still be something fun to explore. There's adventure in almost everything, and in the adventure of chartering unknown territory, FPV drones, might be something that I might find to be entertaining. And it's one of those things that even if I don't find it to be entertaining, at least the fact that I took the initiative to pick one up, to purchase the new DJI FPV drone, to unbox it, to field test it. I mean, for me, that stuff's fun. Even if I don't like what I'm reviewing, if it turns out it's not for me, at least I can provide an honest review, and I might find something fun along the way. So, yeah, for that reason, if DJI does indeed release an FPV drone, I'll probably pick it up for sure. Infused Adventure says, still looking for 3000 series video card. I know it's hard to find. Don't know when we will see it again. Have a 1660 Ti. It's good for what it is. Yeah, man, video cards are hard to find, obviously, because of all the crypto mining. And, man, they've gotten expensive. I remember I used to be a big computer gamer back in the day, back when the 3DFX Voodoo cards came out. That was a big deal. And then after the 3DFX Voodoo, then you had your ATI Radeons, which is now AMD Radeon, and you had your NVIDIA cards come out. And that was just a really cool time. Brad says, I think it's cool videos. You can get out of it and find another small hobby. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it can be let's just call it a micro hobby. FPV drone racing. I mean, that's something that would be fun to explore. And, ultimately with this channel, I mean, growth, having a good time and growth will always remain paramount. And, I ticked over 80,000 subscribers a few days ago, so I'm getting closer to 100,000 subscribers. By no means is that the end. 100,000 subscribers will only be the small beginning. But, being able to further, what's the word for it, diversify the content, not strictly being, a drone user for video purposes, but, maybe becoming a drone guy that, that likes to have fun FPV racing as well. And then there's, you think of FPV racing and you've got, you could set up race courses, you could do all kinds of stuff. And that's that's just a completely different use case for a drone. And definitely, I mean, if DJI does indeed, Brad says there's pictures and videos of it now. Yeah, I think the release of a DJI FPV drone just, seems to make sense. So I don't doubt it. I hope it comes soon, because as soon as it does, man, I'm going to be, I'm going to be ordering one. I mean, unless it's astronomically priced. I mean, I do have, being an independent YouTube channel, I do have limits when it comes to investments. And obviously it's, at the end of the day, for me, it's about ROI, return on investment. So if something's super expensive and I'm not going to be able to recoup my investment, I'm not going to do it. But I think if it's affordably priced, a few $100, I think that the purchase of the DJI FPV drone is a no-brainer for the channel. So, yeah, I'm excited about it. Am I as excited about it as I am a new, say, Mavic 3 or whatever the next big deal drone may be? I don't know, and I think, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but I think with the traditional drone models that that DJI has released, and what we probably expect as consumers for upcoming drones, I think they really need to release something radically different. I have, I will go out and I will go as far as to say that right now, my favorite drone is DJI Mini 2. Granted, it does not have the 1-inch sensor that the DJI Mavic 2 Pro has, but it has USB recharge capability. It's very small, it's very lightweight, and it still does a competent job when it comes to capturing good video. Again, not anywhere close to as good as the video from the Mavic 2 Pro, but if DJI could somehow create a professional model of the Mavic 2 DJI Mini 2, if they could somehow create a professional model of that had a camera as good or better than the Mavic 2 Pro's camera, I think that right there would be just kind of the kill-all of drones, because you'd be able to recharge it by way of USB. You'd be able to, or USB-C, I mean, same type deal. You'd be able to be, very portable. The cost, even if they added that 1-inch sensor camera, and cameras prices have gone down, so maybe even do it at a slight premium over the DJI Mini 2. Brad says, I got the Mini 2, very excited for the Mavic 3. What are you, for the Mavic 3, what are you most excited about? Is there something that you expect the Mavic 3 to bring to the table that's just going to be kind of the goose's feather? Or is there something else there? By the way, this stream, I just wanted to comment, I've had network issues. Larry, thanks for those network tweaks. Had to give a shout out to Larry over there in the control room. The congestion, there's been zero buffering. At least what I'm showing from Multiview, this live stream today has had zero buffering. So I think that Larry has resolved the network issue. So that's a good thing. Yeah, it is going to be a fun year for drones, I think, because people have been cooped up for so long during 2020, and I think people are just they're going stir crazy. They want to get out and do. They want to get out and explore. And I think that the timing now, especially for a drone, whether it's the Mavic 3 or maybe a professional version of DJI Mini 2, I think that the time now is right for the release of a new drone that's very exciting. So I'm excited about that. The other thing, and I'll have to check my calendar, but I think that Blackmagic Design, there's a rumor, and if you're not familiar with Blackmagic Design, they're the company that makes this ATEM Mini Pro that I'm using to live stream with. But they're supposed to be, what's new for the ATEM Mini? Okay. Yes, sir. February the 17th. So apparently Blackmagic Design, they're promoting this thing. It says ATEM Mini and camera update. Please join us to learn more about what's new with the ATEM Mini and cameras. So there's something new coming for the ATEM Mini and cameras that's going to be announced on February 17th. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that because that's what I'm using right now. And I mean, this device, there's all kinds of knick-knack type things that you might acquire, especially if you do, YouTube, and especially if you do YouTube live streaming. And some of the stuff is just junk. And then you get some stuff that's just really, really high-end and really enjoyable. And this is one of those pieces of equipment, not just the ATEM Mini Pro that's over there, but the Rodecaster Pro that I've got this microphone connected to. It kind of hurt, when I had to, when I was like, okay, I'm improving the studio. I want to make the live streams look and sound more professional. It kind of hurt to break down and purchase this equipment. But now that I've done it, and I've even run a strip across my floor, so I've got all the wires tucked away so you can't trip over them. I mean, it was just, it's small things that, that one, may choose to purchase for their YouTube channel that can make a huge difference in quality. So I've been thrilled to use this equipment, and I'm super excited to see what Blackmagic is going to unveil on the 17th, because that's day after tomorrow, man. So who knows what it's going to be. But I mean, these guys are smart. I wish that what they would do, I wish they would allow the, because see, if you have their brand of camera, if you have a Blackmagic camera, which I'm using a Sony right now, which I love, but if you have their brand of camera, you can connect it to the A10 Mini Pro and you can control most all the camera settings, and it's like DaVinci. It's like DaVinci Resolve, the way that you make everything just look perfect. So I mean, that's cool. I wish they would add that capability for Sony cameras. That'd be really awesome, because I'm a Sony guy. I mean, you know, once you get in with a particular camera manufacturer, you've got the lenses. You don't want to step away and have to buy new lenses and buy a new camera. So you know, I'm sticking with Sony. But if Blackmagic releases something really revolutionary, you know, I think it would be worth it just for using it in conjunction with the live streams. But again, I'm able to get this quality that you're seeing here with the green screen, which I think I've nailed it, man. Finally, this lighting. This was not an easy task, but finally I think I've nailed it, and it's good. So yeah, we've got new drones coming, probably an FPV DJI drone. Have you heard anything from any of the wannabe DJI competitors? I know for a while there was a company called, actually there were several. It was 3D Robotics. I think they're probably gone. Autel, I think, are they still around? And then there was Parrot. Parrot, you know, they did the Anafi, and they actually got pretty far with the Anafi, and it's a shame Parrot hasn't released another drone, and it's still, and I'll continue to vocalize my disgust. I'm still irritated that GoPro just said, "Oh, well, karma failed," and they never tried to release something better. That to me was just a cop out, and I didn't like that. I did not like GoPro's handling of that situation with their drone, because they could have been really good. And supposedly, what's the brand? Oh, I'm trying to think here. There's a big brand. Is it Sony or is it another brand? There's a big brand that's coming out with a drone. And I remember reading about that. Do y'all know which company that is? I mean, is it Sony or is it another? It was a really big company that was allegedly going to be releasing a drone, and I think it might have been Sony. And I just thought that was kind of cool, you know, seeing somebody like that enter the space, because, you know, I don't think any of these Maul and Paul type drone companies are ever going to be able to compete with DJI. Number one, they can't produce the quantity of drones that you know, they can't produce them inexpensively, because they've got, you know, to lower your cost of production, you've got a Sony AirPeak, Brad says. Yeah, check out the Sony AirPeak. So that's a Sony drone that's coming out. But yeah, these small shops, they just can't produce in the volume that DJI does, and they can't sell in the volume that DJI does, so they can't compete from a price perspective. And it's you know, it's a shame, because it would be cool if DJI had some competition, but they don't. And it's, you know, and I you know, I like people that go out and support, you know, the other drone companies and try to make them successful. But, you know, looking back, and I'm not saying that my opinion's always right, because it's not, but I feel my opinion is correct because it's my opinion and I share it and I don't sugarcoat it. But, you know, I've dealt with the other brands of drones and I have not been impressed. You know, the closest thing to semi-impressed was with, you know, the Parrot Anafi. You know, I genuinely felt that Parrot, you know, was signaling that they were trying to head in a more professional direction, but then they just hushed it up. They never talked about anything else. Parrot Anafi was good, but, you know, it needed more sturdy propellers. It needed some refinements. I mean, it was, when you held it in your hands, it wasn't a professional tool like the DJI Mini 2. I mean, just the quality difference was radically inferior. And then you don't have the range that you do with the Mini 2. Of course, you know, always fly line of sight to be safe and responsible. But with that being said, you know, having a communications mechanism like OcuSync that is technologically superior to the other drone communication systems. I mean, it's just a shame there hasn't been any company that's been able to compete with DJI. And I'm still, since we don't see the fact that Sony, to Brad's point, the Sony AirPeak, that Sony seems to be entering the drone space, that's encouraging, because I don't think a big fish like Sony would want to get wrap their hands around an industry that they're afraid of, and I think that if they get in, if Sony does well, then maybe that'll usher in like an Apple or a Microsoft or something like that. Jake says, hi from Ontario, Canada. I'm a little late, but hey, better late than never. No doubt, man. Nothing wrong with being late. I'm not going to sit here and insult you for being late. I could, but I'm not going to. Instead, we'll cheer you on for showing up. Jake says, last week our airport was visited by the rare aircraft, a B-2 Spirit. Very cool. B-2, the B-2 bomber. That's very cool. We just there needs to be another company, a big company, to step up and say, you know what, we're going to disrupt DJI. We're going to release something that's technologically superior. We're going to release something at a lower price point. We're going to release something with features that you've never seen before in a drone. So, I think the time's coming. It's interesting how long this industry has just remained, you got one fish, and that's DJI, and then there's just all these other wannabe companies that are just floundering around. They're not trying to innovate. They're not trying to compete. It's more of we make drones too. You should buy our drone. Okay, well, why should I buy your drone? Is it as good as this DJI drone? Tell me why I should buy your drone. They can't do it. And sure, they've sold a little bit, but it's Jake says, last year we had an F-117 Nighthawk visit. That's a very cool stealth fighter. Very cool plane, man. Yeah, I've seen an F-117A, and that's an impressive piece of technology. Rumors are, and I don't know if this is factual or not, but a lot of people suggest that the stealth technology was reverse engineered extraterrestrial technology, which, I definitely think that the extraterrestrials are among us and have been among us for a while. Brad says, what drone are you flying most nowadays? What more would you want out of a drone? What would make the Mavic 2 Pro better? What do you want with the Mavic 3? Great questions. So Brad's first question, what drone are you flying the most nowadays? Mavic Mini 2. The reason being, it's just small, it's lightweight. The battery life is phenomenal. The OcuSync is great. And I can just, recharge it USB. So it's just hassle-free, and it's, not that I would ever crash it or lose it, but if I did, the cost of the drone, although it's expensive, it wouldn't be as much of a financial loss as a Mavic 2 Pro. What more would you want out of a drone? That's easy to answer. I want something like the Mavic Mini 2, which is my favorite drone today, but I want a camera on it that's as good or better than the Mavic 2 Pro. So that means I want 1-inch sensor or better. And ideally, I think it would be cool, and I still don't know why the industry as a whole hasn't seemed to embrace the technology. I would still love a modular camera, so I could put like a 360-degree spherical camera on that drone, and then switch between the 360 spherical and a 1-inch sensor, and it may be a night vision camera, just to mix it up a little bit. I think that would be cool. What would make the Mavic 2 Pro better? The Mavic 2 Pro, well, at this point, it would need to be smaller. It would need to be lighter. It would need to have USB-C recharge capability. And I think that would make the Mavic 2 Pro better. And then, of course, also the autofocus. Even with the firmware, and again, I resorted to using manual focus on my Mavic 2 Pro, which worked great. But if they could somehow create a perfect autofocus system for the Mavic 2 Pro, it would definitely be better. Because the autofocus on that, even with the most current firmware, it's better, but it's not perfect. And I will never get over that time when I swam to shore This was back before the pandemic. Swam to shore, swam to this empty, uninhabited island. Swam from the boat because you couldn't pull the boat up on the shore. You had to tie off to a mooring buoy and swim to shore. And I took off with the Mavic 2 Pro. And the first few seconds of that video were out of focus because autofocus failed me. I will never forget that. I still got some great videos from that uninhabited island. But the fact that Mavic 2 Pro's autofocus failed me, that's a huge area for improvement with the Mavic 2 Pro. And what do you want in the Mavic 3? Okay, in the Mavic 3, I want something smaller and lighter than the Mavic 2 Pro. Now, it doesn't have to be radically smaller and radically lighter because I think there is an advantage to having a little bit of size and a little bit of weight, for handling stronger wind. The Mavic 3, I definitely want modular camera option. I want to have a 1-inch sensor camera option. I want to have a spherical 360 VR, whatever you want to call it, camera option. And I want to have maybe just a zoom camera option and whatever other types of cameras they might want to, throw in there. But it needs to be modular. Be able to take it on and off without the use of tools. And the battery life, I think Mavic 3 could have better battery life. I definitely think that USB-C recharging would be awesome because, that's a big pain point when you go when you go with those drones that are larger than the DJI Mini 2, you're dealing with the inconvenience of having to use a wall charger. I mean, you can get the car charger, charge in a boat or whatever, but you're still not able to recharge with a USB battery bank, for example. So there's definitely opportunities for improvement. I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that I would want in the Mavic 3. And a more palatable price tag too. I think they've gotten a little bit. I mean, when you think about what it is, it's flying around with a camera on it. I mean, when you're in excess of, $2,000 US, you're getting way up there, man. And I think they could be more competitive with their pricing. But, I understand from a business perspective why they're not, and that's because they don't have any competition. So that's why we need competition to create price wars and to make these drones, more affordable for the masses. I think, affordability is important. And I don't mind paying a little bit for something that's high quality. But again, with this kind of stuff, if I can get a lesser priced item and I can achieve as good or better results, there's no reason to spend more for the professional version or whatever. And again, that's why I want to see a Mavic Mini 2 or a DJI Mini 2, I should say, that has a 1-inch sensor camera. Because for me, that would be perfect. I mean, unless I'm dealing with extremely strong wind, which sometimes I do in the Caribbean. A lot of times there's, wind can become a major factor, when you're flying the drone. So, I would like something a little bit bigger than the DJI Mini 2. But I think with the Mavic 3, I think if they kind of hit the size spot between the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mini and the DJI Mini 2, I think they could really have something there. But again, be sure that it's got the USB recharging capability and, and stuff like that. So, great questions. Great questions, Brad. Jake says, when I lived in Cape Vincent, New York, the National Guard had 17 F-117s and 3 B-2s. That's a lot. Jake says, we even had the Global Hawk drone visit in the past. Global Hawk. Woohoo! Mavic Air 2 is good size. Wish I had one. Yeah, Mavic Air 2 is definitely a good size. What I think would be really cool is if they gave that drone, the future iteration of that drone, USB recharging. I think that would be, it's a good size. It's a good size to performance ratio, I think. When you're looking at the Mavic Air 2. I think we might see DJI kind of slim their product lineup down a little bit. I think they've gotten, now, I mean, unless you closely follow drones, they've got so many different models that, it can confuse the consumer. So I think they need to they need to kind of consolidate what they have now. Well, you know, I think actually what they may need to do is just rebrand. You know, maybe they need to have, you know, let's make it, let's just create 3 tiers. You know, if I was DJI, this is what I would do. I would create 3 tiers. I would have mini, and then I would have medium, and then I'd have large. So mini would be your smallest drone. You know, it's going to have. I think mini would be, you know, this. You know, it's for people that want the enhanced portability. But I think they should have 2 tiers of each. So I think they should have a mini, and then they should have a mini pro. You know, the one with the 1-inch sensor camera, and then you go the medium. You know, with that, you're probably getting better battery life. You're getting something that's a little bit bigger and a little bit heavier, so it can handle wind a little bit more. So kind of in the middle. And with it, you know, have just the basic, and then have the professional version with a fancier camera. And then you got the pro, which is kind of the next tier. What did I say? Mini, medium, and large. Yeah, so then you have large, and large would be, you know, the drone that could handle the wind the best, and this, that, and the other, and you'd have 2 tiers of it. I think, you know, they've gotten so many different. DJI's released so many products now. It's a little bit confusing, you know, for the average drone consumer. So, yeah, I think there's opportunity to clean up their branding, because it's there's just too many words on paper to have to decipher among. Well, Brad says, I got the Mavic 2 Zoom, or Jake says, the Global Hawk is the largest U.S. military drone. Brad says, I got the Mavic 2 Zoom and Mini 1 and 2, trying to hold out for Mavic 3 for the next Pro models. And then Brad says they do Mini 2, Mavic Air 2, Mavic Pro. Yeah, they do. You're right. I guess, I think they just need to change the verbiage a little bit, because, well, I guess Phantom is pretty much gone. I think that's probably out of their, they've taken that probably out of their vocabulary completely now, I would assume. So now it's just Mavic. I think they can do a better job, because you notice that, you know, DJI Mini, it was DJI Mini 2. No, it was DJI Mavic Mini. And then they jumped from calling it DJI Mavic Mini to DJI Mini 2. So that's kind of confusing. If you didn't know, you would think those were the DJI Mavic Mini 2, or DJI Mavic Mini and DJI Mini 2. If you didn't know, you would think those were 2 completely different lines of drones, whereas in reality, the DJI Mini 2 is the upgraded DJI Mavic Mini. So, anyway, just a little bit of, I'm being nitpicky, but it's it's a fascinating industry. I think it'll continue to evolve. I do acknowledge that, you know, there's been a little bit of slowdown, it seems, with drones. And I think part of that is that, you know, there just hasn't been any sort of perceived rapid innovation. So, you know, people are starting to question now, do I really need the next drone? Because there's not a bunch of perceived newness. And I think that's the challenge for drone when I say drone manufacturers, there's really only one drone manufacturer, and that's DJI. But I think that's the challenge for DJI right now, is figuring out how to create newness. And they, you know, maybe that's why they're about to release the DJI FPV drone, because they're trying to explore different areas, because they probably realize that, you know, that they've got the best drones, but they probably realize they've become a little bit stagnant, and people are less prone to just want to go out and buy. Kind of like the iPhone, for example. You know, iPhone came out, and it was, you know, something revolutionary. But then they keep releasing, you know, minor refreshes to the iPhone, and it's just kind of like, well, you know, do I really, you know, you question, do I really need the latest phone? Well, what would it bring to the table that I don't have of mine? And there's often not a lot of huge improvements, and it's kind of where we are with drones right now. You know, we're seeing all these new drones come out, but it's like, well, the drone I've got works. It works well. You know, that's not a radical jump. That's not a radical leap, rather. So That's what they got to do. They got to create a new, something radically different that people will just be like, man, I got to have that. Versus now the approach is, or now it's more of a, oh, they released a new drone. What does it do? Do I need it? They need to shift from that to, wow, that's awesome. I've got to get that. So it's not like a situation where the consumer is guessing, trying to evaluate, do I really need this new drone? Their immediate reaction should be, wow, this is revolutionary. I've got to get it. Because now it's more of a, Brad says, are you interested in another Phantom, or you think that's done? I think the Phantom name will live on forever as being the drone that made drones popular. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's from a naming perspective, I think Phantom will live on. From a spot in DJI's product lineup, I don't think the Phantom has any room to continue to live. I mean, it's old years tech. It's too big. It's too heavy. It's just not. It's not. It's no longer relevant. I mean, when you get something smaller, lighter, that performs better, why do you want, something big, heavy, and inferior performance? And I'm not insulting it at all. I mean, the Phantom was, even today, if you look back at let's just look back at some of the earlier Phantoms. I mean, it's incredible what you can still do with those. Now, obviously, the battery life's not, in comparison to what's available now, it's not that great. They're too big, they're too heavy. I'm not personally interested in another Phantom because I think it's just. Can you imagine? Okay, let's talk about laptops. So, not everybody's this old, but I'm old, so I'll go ahead and say it. When laptops first really started coming out, you had the Toshiba satellites, and those things were huge. But at that point in time, they didn't seem to be that huge. So could you imagine today if you were shopping for a laptop and someone said, okay, do you want to get, let's say this is a MacBook Air M1. Do you want to get this, or do you want to get this? And then they pulled out the old yesteryear laptop that's that thick and about that big and weighs probably 10 times as much as a MacBook Air. From that perspective, I just don't think that the DJI Phantom, if they created fingernail here is driving me nuts, man. I haven't been around people. I just bit my fingernail. That's not good because you can get that virus that's going around. I don't know. I just don't know if there's room for the Phantom to be for them to breathe new life into it. I think it's just hey, Phantom is what made us famous, and it's just a dot on their About Us page. I think that's kind of where the Phantom is now. Curiously enough, though, there's still people today, and these aren't your avid drone enthusiasts. They're just people that know that drones exist. Someone that may have seen one or whatever. When they think of drones, they're like, oh, is that a DJI Phantom? In their mind, DJI Phantom is what a drone is called. So, from that perspective, DJI has penetrated even the space where people that don't know drones, when they think of drones, are like, oh, a drone, isn't that DJI Phantom thing? People associate that name with drones. And it's really fascinating what they've done with that Phantom name. But I would not be interested in another Phantom. But could they use the Phantom name and create something completely different? They could, but then if they're doing that, it's not really they already exhibited that they wanted to step away from the Phantom naming convention when they came up with Mavic, and now it seems that Mavic is the new name. So, I don't know, man. It's hard to predict the future. One thing's certain, though, and again, DJI deserves competition. And nobody's wanted to step up and compete with DJI. It's like people were afraid. It's like, man, I don't want to enter the drone arena. It's like, we're not going to win. We're going to be dethroned by DJI in a matter of months. I remember that, what was that company? Was it 3D Robotics? 3DR. There were several of them that, they had these marketing campaigns and they just stepped up like they were really going to compete, and they never did. So yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah, it's I think it will be an interesting year for drones, and maybe Sony when Sony releases their drone, maybe that'll stir up the playing field a little bit. I mean, Sony would be the first big player, to my knowledge, since GoPro that has expressed interest in trying to sell a drone. So that will be interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Trying to get that 100,000 subscribers, man. I want my YouTube trophy. Because when you hit 100,000 subscribers, you get that, it's called the silver play button. It's just, I want it because I want to put it in this YouTube studio that I'm in right now. So I put a lot of money into this. Just want to have something on the wall like a trophy. I did it, man. I did it. But, yeah, gonna, stepping away from drones for a second. It looks like cameras are really about to start. Again, I was an early adopter on this channel of 4K cameras, and got teased a lot in the beginning. People were like, "Man, why are you filming in 4K? Nobody has a 4K TV." And at that time, it was a true statement. People, most people didn't, because 4K TVs were expensive. But now 4K TVs are just, bargain basement prices. So it's not a big deal now. But I think we're about to see the somewhat mass adoption of 8K, because we're starting to see more 8K cameras come out. I'm not ready to jump on the 8K bandwagon yet, because I don't feel that I need to future-proof that far in the future. But I think here, maybe by the end of the year, maybe it'll be time to jump from 4K to 8K, because I think we're about to start seeing 8K TVs really become a lot more affordable. And then, at that point, it would make sense to have that footage better future-proofed, filming that footage in 8K instead of 4K. So, that's something I'm looking at, outside of drones for the channel, looking forward, what's the next video format? How can I better future-proof my content? So that's something I've got on my radar. But, yeah, there's, as far as other technology, man, we've got Apple's coming out with some really cool stuff. I'm excited about the new iMac, the M1 iMac. These M1s, man, what's funny, I've been using this MacBook Air M1 for this entire live stream, and my battery's still almost at 100%. I mean, these things it's amazing how energy efficient and how cool these M1 chips run. They're energy efficient and they run very cool. So just incredible. And they're quiet. I mean, there's no fan in this laptop. So I like that. It's good for a talk show desk, because it doesn't make any noise. Yeah, it'll be an interesting 2021 is going to be interesting. So hopefully there's some exciting new stuff that comes out, and anything y'all want to see video-wise, just ask. And, I'm always working on my to-do list for videos. So anything you want to see me try to address with an upcoming live show, a video that's not live. If you'd like to be a guest on an upcoming live show, just shoot me a message. Best way to get me is facebook.com/IrixGuy. I'm always looking for live guests and that sort of stuff. But other than that, man, just sitting here trying to anticipate what's next with technology as a whole. And, drones, that was a fun thing, being an early adopter of that. And I still love drones, but I'm wanting something to come out that's just brand new. It's got a lot of buzz surrounding it, because I'd really like to, like I've obsessed over drones on this channel, I'd like to obsess over something else, because it's just addictive, man. It's addictive. It's, and it's, when you do it, you got to film and edit all the content, so that makes it fun. And, I thought about, I thought about a lot of different content ideas, but some of the stuff, I don't know. It's just, who knows? But yeah, everyone. Well, this has been fun. I know this was unscheduled. Something I do want to do is start trying to do scheduled live shows. So I want to create, not saying I wouldn't deviate from the schedule, but at least have maybe one day a week where at a set time you can expect a live show. I think that would be cool because we can get and actually, Brad, I think it was you that had suggested that. Just trying to establish some sort of schedule, and I think that would be good for not only y'all, but for me, because I would, by having it scheduled at least one live show a week, that would bring a lot of people in because you would know when to expect the show. Whereas this, I just popped up and started streaming, so it's. Some tweaks like that I want to work on now that I've got the studio. I've got just a few more acoustic treatments coming for the studio because I want to make, the audio quality even better. I got the lighting. I'm convinced the lighting is just like it needs to be now. And best thing is these light panels that I use, they don't produce heat. I mean, there's no noticeable heat coming out of them because they're LED. And since they're light panels, LED light panels, instead of softbox, they don't take up a lot of space. So I'm thrilled about that. I finally figured that out. I've got the voice control of all of this using the A-word device that I used earlier to turn my LED light strips on. So things are coming together. Got freshly painted walls. I need to put a new coat of paint on this green screen because it's getting kind of whatever. So, yeah, it's, Brad says, yes, schedule with drone guest. Yes, I think schedule would be good. It'd be definitely good. Just a bunch of stuff brewing, man. Just trying to make this, trying to get over that initial hump. And again, that initial hump is 100,000 subscribers. So it's getting closer. Not there yet. 80,000 it's quite a long ways from 100,000, but it's closer than I was. So, at least it's trending upwards here now. And that's something I want to remind everyone. Tell everybody or maybe even people we don't know, just like, hey man, subscribe to this channel, and ask if they can subscribe to youtube.com/IrixGuy, because that's one thing since day one, and it'll always remain this way. Since day one, all of my growth has been organic. So there's no sort of, strategies that some channels may use going on. No, this is all organic. So, it's not the number where I want to be with subscriber count, but at least I can look at the number and say, okay, 80,000. It's not that big, but at least it's 100% organic. So that's something I'm happy about. But if there's content that y'all can think of or anything that you'd like to see me address that you think would be a good fit for the channel, that's kind of what I'm looking for, because it's that type of content, like drones, when drones came out, that just brings in just a flood of new faces. And that's always a good thing. I'm going to start doing a lot of how-to videos. I'm going to do a video within the next few days, how to install a doorknob. So as exciting as that may not sound, I think, I just moved my desk. Just stuff like that, how to install a doorknob, how to, just you name it. There's opportunities for videos there. Anselmo, have you said what is the best drone stock? I don't know, man. I don't even follow drone stocks. Sorry, I wish I had an answer for you. Brad says, I think FPV will attack new subs. I hope so, man. It's something new, and FPV as an industry is not new, but FPV for DJI will be brand new. So I think, I hope you're right, man, because I think DJI coupled with FPV, I think that'll be a huge that'll hopefully attract an entirely new yet similar demographic, because you got people that want the drone tech, but they're not in it for the video. They're in it for the racing, and I think the knowledge already learned in regards to DJI drones will hopefully carry on to the DJI FPV drones. I mean, since they're made by DJI, hopefully a lot of that will be similar, and there'll be able to be value provided. How to do this, how to do that with the DJI FPV drone. Common issues and solutions, that sort of stuff. I think that's going to be a cool thing to tackle. And, again, just something that's new and fresh and people are searching for. I tell you, this current situation, man, I've been doing a lot of live streaming tutorials and talking about this A10 Mini Pro that I use right now. Those videos have really helped. They prompted a lot of questions, and then, obviously also the exercise equipment I've got over there, my bike and my rowing machine, that's been a big thing. I mean, brought a lot of people in asking questions about this, that, and the other. I've grown my Schwinn IC4 video playlist. I've grown it from a few videos to almost 80 videos now. So, I mean, that's a big, heavy hitter. And people keep asking questions, which is wonderful. It's like, how exciting can an exercise bike be? Well, actually, it can be very exciting. Not just when you notice you're losing weight. I'm still fat because I eat so much junk, man. But, it's exciting to be able to see the weight loss, but it's also exciting to be able to question, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? And there's questions that viewers have asked about that I never would have thought of the questions. And it's rewarding to be able to say, well, actually, I've got the bike in front of me, and here's an answer. So it's kind of cool to be able to answer questions that people that don't have the bike are curious about, or maybe they do have the bike and it's something they didn't find that I found. Who knows? Something as simple. One of the common ones was, how do you change Schwinn IC4, speedometer? How do you change it from miles per hour to kilometers per hour? Simple stuff, but it's stuff that people need to know. So, yeah, that's what I like, man. But yeah, y'all keep the support coming. I really appreciate it. Again, feel free to check out channel memberships if you haven't. I do have memberships available for the channel now. If you or someone might be interested. T-shirts, obviously got the T-shirts linked at the top of this chat, so you can find my T-shirts there. Had a lot of shirts sold during the holiday season, and that was deeply appreciated. So I'm expecting some of y'all might see people walking around with IrixGuy's Adventure Channel T-shirts, which that's kind of cool. And Anselmo says, are you still dabbling micro stocks? And what do you think of the current markets? Actually, I love, and again, these comments are for entertainment purposes only. They should not be considered a recommendation to buy or sell a security. What I'm about to say is just for entertainment purposes only. For fun, I do play with penny stocks. I love playing with penny stocks. I find penny stocks to be very exciting. Something I've noticed recently with penny stocks are a lot of the stocks in the 000 range, so like .0001 through .0009, some of which had been dormant for many years. And I mean, when I say many years, I mean some that have been with next to no volume for 8 years plus. They're starting to receive volume. There seems to be a heightened interest, at least from what I've seen, in speculators going after these 000 microcap stocks. And it's it's like they're some of them, you don't know why there's volume. Is it just they're trying to create a pump, or is there something verifiable that might be revealed in a press release or something? Who knows? But there's I've noticed a lot of 000 stocks are receiving volume that again have been dormant, many of which have been dormant for many years, and that's that's fascinating when you think about people that were sitting on potentially millions of shares of some of those stocks. Yeah, so it's a different market, and I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. If it's just groups of traders taking advantage of an unknown situation and trying to create perceived buzz, or if it's actually a sign that trading is going to change. I don't know. But I've seen a lot of them. I've seen several go from 0001 to multiple pennies. and again, if you're not a stock market person, when you hear that, it's like, well, that's nothing. It's not. It's the percentage increase, and that's why going from 0001, for example, to 2 cents is very significant. So, yeah, man, that's something I need. Speaking of that, I need to post some more entertaining penny stock videos. I need to do that. That's Anselmo, I really appreciate that. Yeah, I need to whip up some more entertaining penny stock videos, because that's something that's very interesting right now. The market, it's definitely it's definitely an interest. These are definitely interesting times for micro cap penny stock speculators, definitely. So with that being said, I appreciate everyone tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this show up, but I'll be hosting a new live show soon. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. Ring that bell icon when you do. Please consider joining my channel. Channel memberships are cheap, but it helps us support the channel. And, it's viewers like you that enable this channel to continue to exist, because I am an independent YouTube channel. So without your support, I couldn't have this studio, and I couldn't have the equipment to make these live shows and other videos possible. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Be safe, everybody.